Good evening, my friends. Tonight, I am not here to give you another technique. I am not here to teach you how to visualize harder, affirm louder, or believe longer. Tonight, I am here to correct one misunderstanding that quietly stops almost every manifestation before it ever begins. Because here's the truth most people never realize. You do not manifest what you think about. You manifest what you think from. This distinction is everything. Most people think of a desire while remaining rooted in the state that lacks it. They imagine success while feeling unsuccessful. They picture love while living from abandonment. They visualize abundance while breathing scarcity. And then they wonder why nothing changes. But the law is exact. Thinking of something keeps it distant. Thinking from something makes it inevitable. Tonight, you will understand why thinking from a state rearranges reality without effort. You will see why identity always outruns technique. And you will learn how to move your thinking from hope into position. Because once you think from it, this will happen. Let us begin where all creation begins, with state. A state is not a mood. It is not an emotion that comes and goes. A state is a position of consciousness. It is where you are standing inwardly. When no one is watching, when nothing is happening, when the world is quiet, a state is what feels normal to you. And whatever feels normal becomes your life. Scripture tells us, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. The heart here is not emotion. It is subconscious identity, not what you say you want, but what you assume yourself to be. This is why effort fails so often. Effort tries to move outcomes while leaving identity untouched. But identity always wins. If you think of being confident while living from insecurity, your actions will carry hesitation. If you think of being healthy while living from struggle, your body will resist. If you think of abundance while living from survival, money will come and go, but never stay. Because the state you live from is the command you are always issuing. This is why Neville spoke of living in the end. He was not telling you to pretend. He was instructing you to relocate consciousness. The end is not the object. The end is the state you would occupy if the object were already true. Thinking from the end means the desire is no longer ahead of you. It is behind you, and life moves to catch up. Most people do the opposite. They think of the end while remaining positioned at the beginning. They keep asking, when will this happen? How will this happen? What if it doesn't? Those questions reveal the state. They reveal that consciousness is still living before fulfillment, and the law reflects that faithfully. But when you think from a state, those questions disappear. Not because you answer them, but because they no longer belong. A person who is confident does not ask how confidence will come. A person who is loved does not wonder if love is possible. A person who is secure does not scan for proof. They live, and living is the evidence. This is why Jesus never visualized outcomes. He spoke from position. Rise, stretch forth thy hand. It is finished. These were not hopes. They were conclusions. And conclusions reorganize reality. Thinking from a state means your inner dialogue changes, not forcefully, naturally. You stop narrating life as someone waiting. You stop interpreting events as tests. You stop reading delays as denial, because waiting does not belong to the state of having. When you think from it, urgency dissolves. Urgency is always the sign that consciousness is still outside the state. Calm is the sign of arrival. This is why peace is not the reward of manifestation. Peace is the confirmation. When peace arrives, the state has been accepted, and acceptance is the creative act. Science now echoes this ancient truth. The nervous system organizes itself around what it expects as normal. The brain rewires according to repeated states, not occasional thoughts. Scripture called this faith. Science calls it conditioning. Same law. So when you think from a state, your body changes, your posture shifts, your breath deepens, your reactions soften, not because you are trying, but because identity has changed. Behavior follows identity automatically. This is why trying to act as if often fails. Acting belongs to the surface. Being belongs to depth. You do not act confident. You think from confidence. You do not act wealthy. You think from sufficiency. You do not act loved. You think from belonging. And from that thinking, action aligns effortlessly. Let me show you how subtle this is. A person thinking of success says, I hope this works. I'm afraid of failing. I need this to change. A person thinking from success says nothing inwardly. They move. They decide. They adjust. Their silence is confidence. Silence is the language of certainty. This is why manifestation often happens quietly, not with fireworks, not with signs, but with a shift so subtle that only later do you realize everything has changed, because the change happened first, in the place no one sees. This is where discipline comes in, not discipline of action, but discipline of return. Your mind will wander, old thoughts will surface, former identities will call, this is not failure, this is conditioning in progress. You do not fight the old state, you do not argue with it, you simply return. Return to the position of someone for whom this is already true. Return to the feeling of normality, not excitement, not euphoria. Normality, what feels normal is powerful. The subconscious does not respond to intensity. It responds to familiarity. This is why repetition without emotion works. It makes the state familiar, but repetition with strain fails. Strain implies lack. So you ask yourself gently, if this were already done, how would I be thinking right now? Not what would I say, not what would I imagine. How would I think? Would I be rushing? Would I be explaining? Would I be checking constantly? Or would I be calm, decisive, unburdened? That answer is the state. And once you find it, you rest there. Rest does not mean inaction. It means no inner argument. The Bible says God rested on the seventh day, not because creation was tired, but because creation was complete. Rest signals completion. When you rest inwardly, the law goes to work. This is why striving delays manifestation. Striving says, it is not here yet. But thinking from says, it is settled, and settled things move. This is how character changes too. When you think from wholeness, you become kinder. When you think from security, you become patient. When you think from sufficiency, you become generous. You do not try to be better. You are better because the state you live from does not produce fear. Fear always belonged to a state of separation, and separation dissolves. When you think from unity, this is why Christ-centered mysticism is not about worshiping a distant figure. It is about occupying the same position of consciousness. The Father and I are one. Oneness is a state. And when you think from oneness, life responds with coherence. Opportunities align. People respond differently. Timing becomes precise, not because the world changed, but because you did. This is the hidden power behind every so-called miracle. A state accepted without contradiction must express itself. The law does not check logic. It checks alignment. So tonight, stop thinking of what you want. Step into it inwardly, not emotionally, not dramatically, structurally. Let your thoughts arise from the place where this is already true. Let your decisions come from the version of you who already knows. Let your reactions soften, because there is nothing to defend. And when you fall back, and you will, do not judge. Return. Return is the practice. Each return strengthens the state. And one day, quietly, you will notice something extraordinary. You are no longer manifesting. You are living. Life feels cooperative instead of resistant. Choices feel natural instead of forced. Desire feels directional instead of desperate, because you are no longer thinking about life. You are thinking from alignment. And once you think from it, this will happen. Not because you hoped, not because you tried, but because the law has no alternative. Remain there, in calm, in certainty, in quiet authority. The rest will take care of itself. And as you remain here, thinking from rather than of, another quiet shift takes place. You stop monitoring reality for confirmation. You stop scanning the outside world for signs. You stop asking whether you are doing it right. Those questions belong to a state that was still unsure of itself. Now, assurance is internal. When you think from a fulfilled state, you do not need reassurance. Reassurance implies doubt, and doubt cannot live where identity has settled. This is why the outer world begins to feel less demanding. Events still occur. Circumstances still move, but they no longer carry the same emotional charge. You respond instead of react. You choose instead of brace. You act without rehearsing fear. This is not emotional detachment. It is positional clarity. You are no longer standing inside the problem, trying to solve it from within. You are standing after the solution, allowing clarity to guide the next step. And the next step is always simple. Thinking from a state does not overwhelm the mind. It simplifies it. Complexity belongs to the old position, the position of lack, anticipation, and effort. But when you think from completion, life organizes itself in smaller, cleaner movements. You do what is necessary. You ignore what is not. You rest when rest aligns. You move when movement aligns. This alignment feels natural because it is natural. The Bible calls this being led by the Spirit. Science calls it coherent decision-making. Both are describing the same phenomenon, action emerging from an integrated state. This is why inspired action does not feel forced. It feels obvious. You do not need to motivate yourself. Motivation is for resistance. When the state is right, action flows. This is why people who think from abundance do not chase opportunities. They recognize them. People who think from confidence do not seek approval. They communicate clearly. People who think from health do not punish the body. They cooperate with it. The body, the mind, and the environment are always responding to the state you live from. Always. This is why change accelerates. Once the state stabilizes, you are no longer sending mixed signals. Your thoughts, feelings, and assumptions begin to agree. Agreement is power. When inner agreement is reached, outer resistance dissolves. Not dramatically, not instantly, but inevitably. This is the part most people misunderstand. They expect fireworks. They expect instant transformation. But law is quiet. Law moves steadily, precisely, faithfully. Like gravity, it does not announce itself. It simply acts. And when you think from a state consistently, you will notice the shift only in hindsight. One day you will realize you no longer react the way you used to. You no longer fear what once unsettled you. You no longer doubt what once felt impossible, because the state changed first. This is why Neville said, signs follow. They do not precede. Signs are effects. States are causes. So you do not wait for life to convince you. You allow life to catch up. This is patience without waiting, trust without passivity. You trust the law because you understand it. And understanding removes anxiety. Anxiety was never about the future. It was about uncertainty of position. Now, position is clear. You know where you are thinking from. And that knowing steadies everything. Even when something unexpected happens, you do not collapse inwardly. You adjust. You recalibrate. You remain. Remaining is mastery. Remaining in the state. Even when appearances contradict it, not by denial, but by remembering the order. State first. Form second. Always. This is why faith is described as substance. It has weight. It has structure. It is not hoping something will happen. It is living as though it already has. And living from that assumption teaches the world how to treat you. You are not convincing anyone. You are conditioning yourself. And once self is conditioned, the rest follows automatically. So stay with this simplicity. Whenever you notice yourself thinking of the desire again, return. Return to the version of you for whom this is no longer a question. Return to the calm of having decided. Return to the ease of completion. Return without frustration. Return without analysis. Just return. Each return deepens the groove. Each return strengthens identity. Each return brings form closer. And then one day, quietly, without announcement, without ceremony, it happens. Not as a surprise, but as recognition. You will think, of course, because you're already living from it. This is the power of thinking from. And once learned, it does not leave you. It becomes the way you move through life. Calm, grounded, certain. Let it continue. There is nothing to rush. The law is already in motion. And as this law continues to unfold through your days, you begin to recognize a new kind of confidence taking root. Not the loud kind that needs to announce itself. Not the brittle kind that depends on results. But the quiet confidence of someone who knows where they are standing. You no longer feel compelled to explain yourself to life. You no longer rush to justify your decisions. You no longer seek permission to trust what feels aligned. Because when you think from a state, your inner posture has already answered every question. This is why comparison fades. Comparison only exists when you are thinking towards something, measuring distance, counting time, wondering who is ahead. But when you think from fulfillment, there is no race. You are not competing with outcomes. You are cooperating with law. This cooperation changes how you experience time. Time stops feeling like pressure. It becomes sequence. You do not feel late. You do not feel rushed. You do not feel behind. You feel placed exactly where the next natural movement can occur. This is why impatience dissolves. Impatience always meant, I am not yet where I should be. Thinking from means, I am exactly where I am meant to be. And from that acceptance, movement becomes precise. You stop forcing doors. You stop pushing conversations. You stop chasing clarity. Clarity arrives because you are no longer asking it to prove itself. You are thinking from certainty, not seeking it. This is why your reactions soften. Things that once triggered fear now register as information. Situations that once felt overwhelming now feel transitional. You do not personalize resistance. Resistance simply shows you where awareness is being invited to remain steady. And steadiness is power. This is what it means to walk by faith, not by sight. Sight reports appearances. Faith reports position, and position always outranks appearance. This is why the outer world begins to reorganize in subtle ways. People respond differently to you, not because you demanded respect, but because you stopped asking for it. Opportunities appear more naturally, not because you chase them, but because you recognize them. Circumstances soften, not because you fought them, but because you no longer met them from fear. Fear was the only friction. Now that fear has been replaced by orientation. Life flows. Orientation is knowing which direction you are facing inwardly, and you are now facing from the end. This is why gratitude begins to arise without effort. Not gratitude for what might come, not gratitude as a technique, but gratitude as recognition. Recognition that something is already settled within you. Gratitude that emerges naturally is always a sign that thinking has moved from desire to possession. You are no longer grateful for something. You are grateful from something. And gratitude felt from fulfillment is magnetic. It does not pull from lack. It radiates completion. This is why generosity increases. When you think from sufficiency, you stop guarding resources. You give attention freely. You give patience generously. You give kindness without calculation. Because giving no longer threatens you. Threat belongs to scarcity. And scarcity cannot survive where identity has changed. This is how becoming a better person happens naturally. Not through moral effort, but through state elevation. When you think from wholeness, you behave with integrity. When you think from security, you act with compassion. When you think from peace, you respond with wisdom. You do not try to be good. Goodness emerges. This is why character transformation is inseparable from manifestation. The same state that produces outcomes produces virtue, because both are expressions of alignment. This is why the teaching of Christ was never separate from living. He did not offer ideas. He demonstrated states, and every invitation he gave was the same. Follow me, meaning stand where I am standing inwardly. Think from where I am thinking from. Live from where I am living from, and you will see what I see. This invitation has never expired. It is available every moment you choose to relocate consciousness. So whenever you notice yourself drifting back into hoping, into waiting, into checking, pause. Do not correct the thought. Correct the position. Ask quietly, from where am I thinking right now? And then return. Return to the place where this is already resolved. Return to the posture of having decided. Return to the calm authority of completion. You do not need to stay there perfectly. You only need to return faithfully. Faithfulness to the state is what conditions reality. And reality, once conditioned, cannot help but respond. This is why nothing important is ever lost. If something is meant to express, it will wait for alignment. And now, alignment is no longer accidental. It is deliberate. You know the difference. You feel it. So let this continue quietly. Let life rearrange itself in its own rhythm. Let outcomes unfold without pressure. You are no longer trying to make something happen. You are letting something express. And expression, once invited, cannot be stopped. Stay here. The law is already fulfilling itself. And as this expression continues to move through your life, something even deeper settles in. You stop needing to remind yourself of the law. You stop rehearsing principles. You stop checking whether you are aligned. Alignment has become intuitive. You feel it as a quiet rightness before you act. You sense it as a calm certainty before you speak. You recognize it as ease before you decide. This is when thinking from becomes natural. You are no longer performing a practice. You are living a position, and positions shape perception. You begin to notice that your attention no longer clings to problems, not because problems vanish instantly, but because they no longer define the atmosphere of your mind. A problem is now just a moment asking for clarity, not a verdict on your future. This is the freedom that comes from thinking from stability rather than hope. Hope waited. Stability proceeds. This is why fear loses its leverage. Fear only works when the future feels uncertain and identity feels fragile. But when you think from completion, the future is no longer threatening. It is simply unknown, and unknown no longer frightens you. You trust sequence. You trust timing. You trust that what belongs to the state you occupy will arrive through the path of least resistance. And resistance dissolves when there is nothing left to prove. This is why you no longer explain your faith to others. Explanation belongs to insecurity. Certainty does not debate. You simply live. And living from a state teaches others more than words ever could. Your presence begins to carry weight, not heaviness, authority. People feel calmer around you. Conversations soften. Situations resolve with less friction. Not because you are controlling outcomes, but because you are not contributing confusion. Coherence is contagious. This is the hidden social power of thinking from alignment. When your inner world is settled, the outer world reflects order. This is why the Bible speaks of peace that passes understanding. Understanding tries to reason its way into safety. Peace knows safety is already established, and peace is felt long before results appear. This is why you do not rush manifestation. Rushing implies separation. Separation belonged to the old state. Now, patience feels effortless. You are not waiting for something to happen. You are allowing something to unfold. Unfolding is organic. It does not respond to pressure. It responds to permission. And permission is given when you think from trust. This is why gratitude deepens. Not gratitude as a practice, but gratitude as a recognition of order. You recognize that life is responding accurately. You recognize that nothing is random. You recognize that everything is echoing state. This recognition dissolves resentment. Resentment belongs to misunderstanding. Understanding brings humility. Humility here is not shrinking. It is alignment with truth. Truth says, state precedes form. Identity precedes experience. Thinking from precedes seeing. And once you accept this, you stop arguing with life. Argument wastes energy. Agreement directs it. So you agree with the end inwardly. You agree with the version of yourself that already knows. You agree with the state that feels calm, grounded, and sure. And you return there whenever attention drifts. No self-criticism, no urgency. Just return. Return is the rhythm. Return is the discipline. Return is the devotion. Each return reinforces the state. Each return clarifies identity. Each return tightens the alignment between inner and outer. And over time, thinking from becomes your default. You notice it when challenges arise, and you respond without panic. You notice it when opportunities appear, and you recognize them instantly. You notice it when silence no longer feels empty, but full of trust, full of expectancy without strain. This is expectancy purified. Not expectation demanding results, but expectancy resting in law. Law does not miss. So you let the law work. You stop trying to micromanage outcomes. You stop testing the process. You stop asking, is this working? Because working is implied when you are thinking from alignment. This is why the most powerful manifestations often arrive when you are no longer looking. Looking implied distance. Distance no longer exists. You are already there inwardly. And inner arrival guarantees outer arrival. This is not belief. This is structure. This is why, once you learn to think from a state, you cannot unknow it. It becomes the way you approach everything. Desire no longer excites or agitates you. It orients you. You sense direction instead of urgency, movement instead of strain. This is how life becomes lighter, without becoming careless. You are grounded, present, certain. And certainty, when lived quietly, reshapes reality with precision. So remain here. Do not rush the ending. Do not demand the proof. You are no longer ahead of life or behind it. You are walking with it, thinking from alignment, living from completion, allowing form to follow. And it will, faithfully, inevitably. And as this way of living settles even further, you begin to notice that effort has quietly stepped aside. You are no longer bracing yourself against the day. You are no longer preparing for disappointment. You are no longer rehearsing explanations in advance. Preparation belongs to uncertainty. Now, certainty is structural. This does not mean you know every detail of what will unfold. It means you trust the order of unfolding. Trust is not optimism. Trust is alignment with law. You trust that when you think from a state, life has no option but to express it in its own timing, through its own channels, without your interference. This trust frees your attention. Attention is no longer consumed by vigilance. It becomes available for living. You listen more fully. You see more clearly. You notice nuances you once rushed past. Presence deepens. Presence is not something you practice. Presence is what remains when inner argument ends. An inner argument ends when you stop questioning your position. You have already decided where you stand inwardly. This decision changes how you experience uncertainty. Uncertainty no longer feels like danger. It feels like space. Space for something new to take shape. Space for life to surprise you. Space for intelligence beyond planning to operate. You are no longer afraid of not knowing, because knowing was never your role. Your role was alignment. Alignment has been achieved. Now, life does the rest. This is why you stop forcing clarity. Clarity comes when it is needed, not when it is demanded. This is why you stop forcing timing. Timing reveals itself when the state is ready to receive. This is why you stop forcing outcomes. Outcomes are effects, not causes. And you are living at cause now. This does something profound to your nervous system. The body relaxes into trust. The breath slows without instruction. The muscles release their vigilance. You are no longer living in anticipation of threat. Threat belonged to a state that expected lack. Now, expectation has changed. Expectation is no longer tense. It is open. Open expectancy feels like calm curiosity. You are curious about how life will arrange itself, not anxious about whether it will. This curiosity replaces control. Control was the attempt to compensate for mistrust. Mistrust is gone. You trust the law because you are cooperating with it. This cooperation feels like humility. Not the humility that diminishes the self, but the humility that recognizes order. You are not the source of manifestation. You are the position through which it flows. And that recognition removes pressure. Pressure was never necessary. It only obscured clarity. Now, clarity guides you effortlessly. You take action when action aligns. You remain still when stillness aligns. You no longer confuse movement with progress. Progress is state deepening, not activity. This is why you no longer feel the need to tell others what you are doing. Announcement belongs to insecurity. Alignment is silent. Silence is not absence. It is fullness without noise. This silence becomes comfortable. You are no longer afraid of it. In silence, you feel grounded. In silence, you feel complete. In silence, you feel guided without instruction. This is inner authority. Authority that does not dominate. Authority that does not defend. Authority that simply stands. Standing in a state is the highest form of action. From here, everything you do carries coherence. Your words land more gently. Your decisions create less friction. Your presence calms situations rather than escalates them. Not because you're trying to influence outcomes, but because coherence naturally influences its environment. This is resonance. Resonance is the world responding to inner order. You do not chase resonance. You emit it by thinking from alignment. This is why things begin to fall into place without effort. What belongs to you finds you. What does not belong fades without struggle. You do not cling. You do not resist. You allow. Allowance is the posture of someone who knows there is nothing to lose by trusting truth. This is freedom. Not freedom from responsibility, but freedom from inner conflict. Inner conflict was the only prison. Now that it has dissolved, movement becomes light. Life feels cooperative. Even challenges feel different. They arrive as adjustments, not punishments. They ask for refinement, not fear. And you meet them from clarity, not contraction. This is maturity of manifestation. Not the excitement of first results, but the steadiness of sustained alignment. You are no longer trying to prove the law works. You are living as evidence. And evidence does not argue. It simply exists. So continue like this, without effort, without pressure, without impatience. Let the days confirm what you already know inwardly. You are thinking from it now. And because you are thinking from it, this will continue to happen, quietly, naturally, faithfully. There is nothing left to add, only to remain. And now we allow this to come to rest, not because anything has ended, but because nothing is being chased anymore. You have arrived at a way of standing in life that does not require effort to maintain. It maintains itself. You are no longer trying to make something happen. You are allowing what is already aligned to express in its own time, in its own way. There is a deep relief in this, relief from inner pressure, relief from constant correction, relief from the need to prove that you are doing it right. You are no longer negotiating with reality. You are cooperating with it. And cooperation is power without strain. From here, you move through your days differently, not perfectly, not rigidly, but honestly. When something feels aligned, you follow it. When something feels forced, you pause. When doubt appears, you do not wrestle it. You return to where you are thinking from. Return is enough. You no longer ask, will this work? Because that question belongs to someone who is still thinking toward an outcome. You are thinking from it now, and thinking from does not hurry. It does not explain. It does not defend. It rests. Rest is not inactivity. Rest is completion recognized. The law does not need your supervision. It responds to position, not pressure. So let the outer world move as it will. Let events rearrange themselves naturally. Let results appear without announcement. You will recognize them not as surprises, but as confirmations, because you were already living from them. This is the quiet authority of alignment. This is the strength of inner agreement. This is the simplicity that follows understanding. Nothing more is required of you now. Remain where you are, thinking from clarity, living from certainty, allowing form to follow cause. And it will, always, faithfully. So be still. The state has been chosen. The direction is set. The rest is inevitable. In the quiet before the morning rises, before thought gathers its usual weight, there is a presence that has always existed. It is eternal, unbroken, and infinite. It is the still point from which all creation flows, the word that was in the beginning, the word that continues to speak through you. You are not separate from this current. You are the living expression of it, the vessel through which the unseen becomes manifest, the consciousness through which life unfolds. If you are reading these words, it is no coincidence. The universe has conspired to bring you here, to awaken a part of your being that has long been dormant. You are being called quietly, unmistakably, to prepare for change, not gradual, not distant, not tentative, but change that will reshape the contours of your reality, align you with your purpose, and bring forth the fulfillment that has always been your inheritance. All that you have desired, all that you have longed for, exists now in the infinite field of potential. It waits not for your effort, but for your recognition. The kingdom of God is within you, Luke 17:21. Not somewhere else, not in distant people or circumstances, but within you right now. Every experience you have had, every obstacle, every triumph, every sorrow, they have been the mirrors of your inner state, the reflections of your assumptions, the echoes of your consciousness. You are not merely a participant in life, you are the orchestrator, the creator, the law in motion. Begin now to observe your inner dialogue. Every word you whisper to yourself is a seed. Every feeling you entertain is the water, and every belief you accept is the sunlight. Most have allowed weeds of doubt, fear, and limitation to flourish unnoticed. But you are being called to a new cultivation. Speak to yourself as the fulfilled being you are meant to be. I am guided. I am loved. I am abundant. I am successful. I am whole. Let each word settle deeply into your consciousness until it becomes unshakable knowing, not wishful thinking. Now close your eyes and allow your imagination to rise. See the life you have desired as though it is already real. Hear the sounds, feel the textures, taste the joy, see the clarity, sense the freedom. Do not imagine the struggle, the waiting, or the climb. Imagine the end fulfilled. This is the law of assumption in motion. The unseen precedes the seen. The state you inhabit inwardly calls forth the outer world to mirror it. Persist in this state with feeling, with certainty, with unwavering knowing. Consider the law of revision. If past disappointments, failures, or regrets linger in your mind, now is the moment to rewrite them. Return to those moments in imagination and see them as you wish they had been, not as they appeared. See yourself acting with wisdom, speaking with confidence, succeeding with ease. Feel the new outcome fully. The subconscious cannot distinguish between actual events and vividly imagined events imbued with feeling. They are both real. They are both seeds. In this way, the past becomes a tool, not a chain. The outer world must now rearrange itself to reflect the new internal reality you have chosen. Move now to your emotional state. Emotion is the signal that connects consciousness to the field of manifestation. Fear, doubt, frustration, they are indicators that your vibration has drifted from the fulfilled state. Joy, gratitude, certainty, they are confirmation that you are aligned. Train yourself to notice these inner signals. When they arise, return gently to the state of fulfillment. Persist. Feel it real. Live it inwardly, and life will follow without effort. Turn your attention to the subtle currents of opportunity already surrounding you. Change rarely comes announced. It flows silently, often through synchronicities, coincidences, and the subtle guidance of unseen forces. Pay attention. The chance encounters, the unlooked-for insights, the doors that open unexpectedly, all of these are markers that your inner state has begun to align with the law. Move in awareness, and you will recognize them as the currents of divine orchestration. Now, consider the nature of your self-concept. The assumptions you hold about who you are determine what you attract. If you assume limitation, the world mirrors limitation. If you assume abundance, the world yields abundance. You are the one holding the compass. You are the one creating the vibration. Assume yourself as already capable, already fulfilled, already powerful. See yourself moving through the world as one who has already arrived. Your outer life cannot resist the vibration of the inner reality you maintain. Breathe now and feel your consciousness expand. Every thought, every word, every feeling carries weight in the unseen field of creation. Imagine not just your desires, but the entire spectrum of life moving toward you in alignment with your state. Imagine every opportunity, every person, every resource, every circumstance flowing into perfect orchestration to fulfill the inner reality you have assumed. Do not question the how or the when. The law has no resistance. Your certainty is the only requirement. Now, notice the power of silence. In the stillness behind thought, in the pause before reaction, lies the conduit through which the unseen moves. Allow yourself moments of deep quiet. Listen to the subtle nudges, the soft whispers, the intuitions that rise unbidden. These are not random. They are the language of the divine within you, guiding every step, every decision, every movement. Align with it. Trust it. Follow it. Consider the principle of inspired action. You are not a passive observer. While your inner state shapes reality, your outer actions are the extension of that state. Act from the fulfilled self. Choose from certainty, not from fear. Speak from love, not from need. Move in alignment, and your life will orchestrate itself with effortless precision. The outer world bends naturally to the vibration you maintain inwardly. Expand further into gratitude. Not gratitude for what has appeared, but gratitude for the unseen currents already moving in your favor. Feel it. Live it. Saturate your consciousness with it. Gratitude harmonizes you with the field of infinite potential. and accelerates the appearance of your desires. The more you dwell in grateful knowing, the faster life conforms to your inner state. Now, envision your life fully transformed. Every obstacle once perceived as insurmountable is now a step in alignment with your purpose. Every limitation has dissolved before the certainty of your inner state. Every relationship, every opportunity, every circumstance has shifted to mirror the vibration of the fulfilled self. See it, feel it, live it inwardly. The universe cannot resist what is known as real in consciousness. And as you hold this state, remember, big changes do not always arrive in the form of grand events. Often they manifest as a shift in perception, a reordering of priorities, a clarity of purpose. When you are aligned, everything moves into place. Doors open, people respond, circumstances align. Change is not forced, it is natural. It is the inevitable expression of your inner knowing. Breathe deeply. Let your body, mind, and spirit absorb this truth. Let it permeate every thought, every word, every action. You are not waiting. You are not seeking. You are the fulfillment itself. Every breath, every heartbeat, every glance is a reflection of the law obeying your consciousness. And now let your inner declaration settle like a seed of certainty in every part of your being. I am guided. I am abundant. I am loved. I am aligned. I am victorious. I am the living expression of divine law, and my life transforms with effortless grace. And so it is. Now, let us explore the hidden currents of your subconscious mind. Most of life's outcomes have been guided not by conscious choice, but by the silent, unobserved assumptions lodged deep within. These assumptions dictate your responses, your opportunities, your perceptions. But you are now awake to this law. You are now aware that every assumption you consciously hold is a command to the universe. To change your life, you must go deeper than words. You must impress the subconscious with certainty. Speak inwardly with unwavering authority. Assume fully, feel deeply, and watch as the unseen begins to shape itself around your inner reality. Turn your focus now to the power of mental rehearsal in vivid detail. It is not enough to imagine vaguely. You must see, hear, touch, and feel the life you desire as fully present. Picture conversations exactly as you wish them to occur. Sense the environment with perfect clarity. Hear the sounds, feel the texture, smell the fragrance of your fulfilled world. Let joy, gratitude, and confidence saturate every fiber of your being. Each rehearsal becomes a blueprint, a seed, a law that the universe must obey. Consider the dimension of emotional resonance. Emotion is the magnet of creation. The mind thinks, but the heart moves. When fear or doubt arises, recognize it as a misalignment, a subtle whisper that your attention has drifted. Respond not with resistance, but with return. Return to the feeling of the fulfilled end. Let certainty, love, joy, and gratitude dominate the vibration you radiate. Your inner state is the invisible current to which life must conform. Expand further into the power of alignment across all dimensions of life. Success, abundance, love, health, clarity, and freedom are not separate. They are interconnected expressions of your inner state. When you assume fulfillment in one area, your consciousness naturally aligns others. Imagine yourself fully alive in all dimensions. See your health vibrant, your mind clear, your relationships harmonious, your abundance overflowing, your creativity flowing effortlessly. Hold this alignment in feeling, and life itself cannot resist the law. Now, contemplate the principle of inspired action. While inner alignment moves the universe to your desires, action is the visible expression of your inner state. Act from the fulfilled self, not from need, fear, or hesitation. Each step becomes effortless, precise, and harmonious. Opportunities, guidance, and solutions flow naturally. You do not chase life, you move in rhythm with it. Every decision, every movement, every conversation becomes a reflection of the inner law you uphold. Shift your awareness to the subtle orchestration of synchronicities. Events, encounters, and insights often arrive unseen, quietly, perfectly timed. These are confirmations, markers that your inner state has begun to align with the unseen currents of life. Recognize them, Follow them. Respond to them. They are the language of alignment, the signals of divine orchestration guiding you to the manifestation of your desires. Now, let us enter the dimension of expanded imagination. The field of possibility is infinite. Do not limit your inner vision by what appears realistic or plausible. Imagine boldly, expansively, with clarity and feeling. Every vivid scene, every inspired emotion, every assumed truth expands the unseen field, calling reality to form with perfect precision. The outer world cannot resist the inner law that has been fully impressed with imagination and feeling. Turn inward to the state of gratitude as creative force. Gratitude is the amplifier of law. It harmonizes your vibration, accelerates manifestation, and deepens alignment. Feel gratitude not for what is visible, but for what is already moving into form. Let it saturate every thought, every word, every breath. Gratitude transforms expectation into knowing, desire into fulfillment, and possibility into reality. Now, breathe deeply and feel the convergence of all these principles within you. Imagination, feeling, assumption, alignment, gratitude, inspired action, and stillness. Each element harmonizes, forming a powerful current that shapes your life. You are awake. You are aware. You are conscious creation in motion. You are not waiting for life to change. You are the agent of change itself. Anchor this awareness with a sacred declaration. I am infinite. I am fulfilled. I am abundant. I am guided. I am victorious. I am whole. My consciousness shapes reality, and everything I imagine moves naturally to form. Now, let us explore the power of inner authority. You are not a passive observer of life. You are the sovereign of your own experience. Every thought you entertain, every feeling you allow, every word you speak inwardly carries authority over reality. When you claim your inner sovereignty, when you speak to yourself as the fulfilled, capable, abundant being that you are, the universe responds without hesitation. Law obeys the inner state. Life mirrors the assumption you maintain. Authority is not force, it is presence, certainty, and unshakable knowing. Turn your attention to the subtle art of inner observation. Most people live unexamined lives, reacting to the world as it appears. But you are now awake to the inner law. Watch your thoughts. Notice the fleeting doubts, the habitual fears, the unconscious assumptions. Each one is a current directing your reality. When you notice misalignment, pause, breathe, and return to the fulfilled state. Observe without judgment. Correct without struggle. Your inner vigilance is the compass guiding manifestation. Now, dive into the dimension of emotional fidelity. To speak to yourself effectively, you must honor your emotions as signals, not as obstacles. Fear, impatience, or frustration are not failures. They are indicators that your attention has drifted from the state of fulfillment. Joy, certainty, gratitude, and love are confirmations that you are aligned. Learn to navigate these emotional tides. Let every rise of doubt be met with a return to inner knowing. Let every moment of joy be amplified and sustained. Your emotional fidelity determines the strength of your creation. Consider also the principle of layered imagination. It is not enough to imagine a single outcome. Layer your vision. See the life you desire from multiple angles. The environment, the relationships, the career, the health, the freedom, the joy. Immerse all senses, include emotions, and allow each detail to resonate as if already real. Layered imagination creates a vibration so precise and full that outer reality has no choice but to conform. Each sensory detail, each emotional nuance, each imagined interaction impresses the subconscious and signals the universe with perfect clarity. Now, focus on the unseen orchestration of life. Events, people, circumstances, they are not random. They are instruments in a symphony of creation, responding to your inner state, synchronicities, chance encounters, unexpected solutions. These are the language of alignment, the gentle signs that your inner world is influencing the outer. Learn to read them, move with them, trust them. Your inner state is the conductor, and the outer world responds in harmony. Expand your awareness into the timeless nature of fulfillment. Fulfillment is not a future event. It is an eternal reality already present in consciousness. Past failures, present limitations, and future hopes are illusions of linear time. When you assume the end, when you feel the fulfilled state as real, you step into the eternal now. Reality, bound by outer appearances, will adjust to reflect the inner state. You do not wait, you inhabit what has always been yours. Now, explore the interplay of gratitude and faith. Gratitude anchors assumption into reality, harmonizes your vibration, and strengthens your alignment. Faith is the certainty that what you have imagined is already accomplished. Together, gratitude and faith become a force that moves unseen currents into visible form. Feel it. Saturate your consciousness with it. Let every breath, every heartbeat, every thought resonate with the knowing that all is already complete, all is already yours. Turn your attention to the power of inspired presence. Your consciousness radiates. Your state influences the environment, the people you meet, the circumstances you attract. By inhabiting the fulfilled self fully, you are not only transforming your life, you are harmonizing the world around you. Every glance, every word, every action is an extension of your inner vibration. You are the epicenter of change, the axis of manifestation. Finally, anchor all this practice in daily ritual and deliberate focus. Begin each day speaking inwardly as the fulfilled self. Rehearse the day in vivid imagination, feeling every scene is accomplished. Throughout the day, pause to return to the inner state whenever resistance appears. End the day in gratitude, feeling the end fulfilled, savoring the certainty, the joy, the abundance. In these rituals, even 3 days of practice can shift reality, reprogram the subconscious, and align outer life with inner knowing. Breathe deeply now. Feel the full resonance of all these principles within you. You are awake. You are aware. You are the living word, the law in motion, the fulfilled self manifesting. You are not waiting. You are not seeking. You are the miracle, the fulfillment, the living expression of divine law. Every thought, every feeling, every action is a declaration to the universe. Everything you imagine, everything you assume, everything you hold as real is moving to appear. Anchor this in your consciousness as your sacred declaration. I am infinite. I am fulfilled. I am abundant. I am guided. I am victorious. I am whole. My consciousness shapes reality, and everything I imagine is moving naturally into form. And so it is. Now, allow your awareness to move into the realm of subtle intention. Every intention you hold is not just a thought. It is a vibration, a directive, a blueprint for the unseen to follow. Most people scatter their attention, allowing fleeting desires and doubts to dilute the power of their focus. But you are learning to direct attention with precision. Each intention, each assumption, each feeling of fulfillment is a seed planted in the fertile field of your subconscious, where it will grow and orchestrate the unfolding of outer reality. Turn inward to the art of living from the end. Do not wait for circumstances to validate your desires. Instead, inhabit the reality of the fulfilled state as fully present. See yourself as already accomplished, already abundant, already loved. Feel it in every cell, every heartbeat, every breath. Speak inwardly from this state. Walk, act, and think as the person who has already achieved what you desire. The outer world will rearrange itself naturally to match the inner truth you now embody. Now, consider the power of conscious revision. Each day, life presents situations that may appear misaligned with your desires, moments of discomfort, resistance, or challenge. Do not resist them and do not judge them. Instead, enter imagination and revise them. See the events unfolding exactly as you wish them to have occurred. Feel the resolution, the success, the satisfaction. The subconscious cannot distinguish between past events and imagined events, impressed with feeling they are equally potent. Through revision, the present and future are rewritten. Turn your awareness to the alignment of mind, heart, and body. Thought alone is insufficient. Feeling alone is insufficient. Action alone is insufficient. Fulfillment arises when all three move in harmony. Imagine, feel, and act as the fulfilled self. Allow your body to embody confidence, your heart to radiate love, and your mind to dwell in clarity. This triad of alignment becomes a current too strong for reality to resist. Now, move deeper into the dimension of infinite possibility. Your imagination is limitless. Do not confine your inner vision to what seems plausible, realistic, or likely. Envision the life, the abundance, the freedom, the joy that exceeds your expectations. Expand beyond what has been experienced, beyond what you have seen. The universe responds not to limitations, but to the magnitude of your inner assumption. The more expansive your consciousness, the more dynamic and effortless the unfolding of reality. Focus now on the principle of inner guidance. Life is full of opportunities, signs and subtle nudges from unseen intelligence. Often, these arise as intuitions, fleeting thoughts, or quiet urgings. Learn to recognize them, trust them, follow them. Each guidance is a thread of alignment leading you closer to your fulfilled state. Do not question the source. Act with faith. Let your inner knowing direct outer action. Expand into the dimension of gratitude in advance. Gratitude is not only for what is seen or already received. It is the acknowledgement of what is already on its way. Feel gratitude now for the alignment, the abundance, the love, the opportunities that are already moving to manifest. Gratitude harmonizes your vibration with the law, strengthens your assumption, and accelerates the realization of your desires. The more genuine and immersive your gratitude, the more the outer world must conform. Now, consider the subtle influence of your consciousness on others. Every vibration you carry touches the world. Your thoughts, feelings, and inner state ripple outward, influencing circumstances, people, and unseen forces. By inhabiting the fulfilled self, you are not only manifesting your own desires, you are harmonizing the currents around you, facilitating alignment in ways that extend far beyond your perception. You are a beacon, a field of consciousness shaping life with elegance and precision. Turn inward to the practice of quiet persistence. Assumption is the law, but persistence solidifies its power. Even when outer circumstances appear contrary, even when doubt arises, return gently to the state of fulfillment. Persist in feeling the end accomplished. Persist in imagining the desired reality as already present. Each repetition strengthens the current, deepens alignment, and accelerates the appearance of the outer reflection. Persistence in inner knowing is the engine of manifestation. Now, breathe deeply and feel the totality of these principles resonating through your being. Imagination, feeling, assumption, alignment, gratitude, inspired action, and stillness. Each principle harmonizes, forming a current that reshapes life itself. You are awake. You are aware. You are the law in motion, complete, fulfilled, unshakable. You are the fulfilled self, the law in motion, the living word manifesting in every aspect of life. Anchor this awareness as a sacred, unshakable declaration. I am infinite. I am fulfilled. I am abundant. I am guided. I am victorious. I am whole. My consciousness is the law, and all that I imagine is moving naturally to form. Now, let us step into the sacred rhythm of creation. Life is not a series of random events. It is a symphony, a vibration, a perfect orchestration that responds to the state you occupy. Your thoughts, your feelings, your inner words, each one is a note in this symphony. When they are aligned, the music of your life flows effortlessly. You are no longer struggling against circumstances. You are moving with the natural current of reality. Every breath, every glance, every action carries the melody of fulfillment. Turn inward to the power of deep imagination with immersive sensation. Do not merely think about the life you desire, experience it. Hear the sounds of abundance, of joy, of love. Feel the textures of success and freedom. Taste the sweetness of accomplishment. See the colors, the clarity, the beauty of your fulfilled reality. Let your heart expand with emotion until the experience feels more real than your current circumstances. Every detail impressed with feeling becomes a law the universe cannot resist. Now, consider the principle of non-resistance. Resistance is the friction between inner knowing and outer appearance. When doubt arises, when fear appears, When circumstances seem contrary, do not fight. Observe without judgment. Return gently to the inner state of fulfillment. Let the law flow without obstruction. Resistance dissolves in the certainty of your assumption. The outer world always conforms to the state you occupy inwardly. Expand your awareness into the dimension of universal collaboration. You are not creating alone. Every event, every person, every circumstance responds to your consciousness and aligns with your assumption. Synchronicities, guidance, and unseen help flow naturally to those who are aligned. Trust the process. See the hidden hand of intelligence working in perfect harmony with your inner state. You are both the origin and the receiver, the source and the vessel. Turn attention now to the alchemy of gratitude and joy as active forces. Gratitude is not passive, it is a creative tool. Joy is not optional, it is the vibration of alignment. When you feel gratitude for what is unseen and joy for what is already present in imagination, you amplify the law. You accelerate manifestation. You harmonize every current of your being with the perfect unfolding of life. The universe cannot resist these vibrations. They are the language of creation itself. Now, practice the art of daily inner rehearsal. Begin each day speaking inwardly as the fulfilled self. Imagine each encounter, each opportunity, each moment as already accomplished. Feel it, sense it, embody it. Throughout the day, return often to this state whenever you notice doubt, distraction, or tension. End each day in gratitude, imagining the end fulfilled. 3 days of such practice are enough to shift reality. Sustained practice transforms life completely. Turn your attention to the timelessness of your inner state. Fulfillment exists now, not in the past, not in the future, but in the eternal present of your consciousness. When you inhabit the end, you are stepping outside linear time. The outer world may appear delayed, but your consciousness has already captured the fulfilled state. The universe arranges itself around this knowing. What you assume as real now must appear. Expand now into the dimension of subtle influence. Your inner state not only creates your life, it touches others, events, and circumstances. By embodying the fulfilled self, you radiate alignment. Opportunities appear, relationships harmonize, situations resolve. You are a center of consciousness that shapes the currents around you. Your vibration is both personal and collective, affecting reality in ways you may not yet perceive. Finally, anchor all these truths into the sacred awareness of being. You are not waiting. You are not seeking. You are the fulfilled self. You are the law in motion. You are the living word, the consciousness through which all life expresses itself. Every thought, every word, every breath, every feeling is a signal to the universe. Everything you imagine, everything you assume, everything you hold as real is moving naturally into form. Breathe deeply. Feel the currents of creation flowing through you, harmonizing every cell, every thought, every emotion. Allow this awareness to settle, not as a concept, but as a living reality. You are awake. You are aware. You are fulfilled. Seal this knowing with your sacred declaration. I am infinite. I am fulfilled. I am abundant. I am guided. I am victorious. I am whole. My consciousness shapes reality, and all that I imagine moves effortlessly into form. Now, allow your awareness to move into the dimension of intentional creation. Life is not a sequence of random events. It is the direct reflection of your inner state. Every thought, every feeling, every quiet word you speak inwardly is a signal to the universe. The unseen obeys the state of consciousness. Your assumptions are the blueprint. Your imagination is the instrument. And your feeling is the power that compels reality to conform. Recognize this. Feel it. Live it. Turn inward and consider the power of inner dialogue. Most speak unconsciously to themselves, repeating old stories of limitation, doubt, and lack. But you now have the authority to rewrite these inner conversations. Speak to yourself as the fulfilled self. I am abundant. I am guided. I am loved. I am powerful. I am victorious. Repeat these truths not as empty affirmations, but as undeniable reality. Let your subconscious accept them as law. Let your heart feel them as fact, and let your consciousness radiate them outward. Now deepen into the art of immersive imagination. It is not enough to think. You must experience the reality you desire through all senses. See the environment, hear the sounds, feel the textures, taste the sweetness, sense the energy of fulfillment. Let joy, gratitude, and certainty flood your being. Each immersive experience impressed with feeling becomes an irresistible command to the unseen, a blueprint for outer manifestation. Expand your awareness into timeless knowing. The fulfilled state exists now. Past limitations, present obstacles, and future hopes are illusions of linear time. When you assume the end, you collapse the sequence of waiting. You enter the eternal now where all desires exist fully. Outer reality will adjust, it always does, but your consciousness has already captured the fulfilled state. You are not waiting. You are not hoping. You are already complete. Turn to the principle of emotional fidelity. Emotions are the currency of creation. Fear, doubt, and frustration are misalignments, signals that attention has drifted. Joy, love, gratitude, and certainty are confirmations that you are aligned. Learn to read these signals with precision. When a negative emotion arises, return gently to the fulfilled state. Persist in feeling it real. Your mastery over emotional vibration determines the strength of manifestation. Now, explore the orchestration of synchronicities. Life will begin to arrange itself around your inner state. Opportunities, conversations, insights, and chance encounters will appear, perfectly timed. These are not coincidences, they are confirmations of alignment. Learn to recognize them. Respond with clarity, not effort. Move in harmony with these subtle currents, and the universe will continue to align with the reality you have assumed. Consider the power of gratitude in advance. Gratitude is not merely for what is seen, it is for what is already moving into form. Feel gratitude for your fulfilled reality as though it is fully present. Let this feeling saturate every thought, every word, every breath. Gratitude harmonizes your vibration, accelerates manifestation, and deepens alignment. The unseen cannot resist the resonance of gratitude. Now, practice persistent assumption. 3 days of speaking to yourself as the fulfilled self can shift reality, but consistency solidifies transformation. Return often to your inner state. Persist in imagining, feeling, and assuming the end. Each repetition strengthens your alignment and accelerates outer manifestation. Remember, the outer world cannot resist the vibration that is fully embraced inwardly. Turn attention to the interconnection of consciousness. Your state not only shapes your life, it radiates outward, subtly influencing people, situations, and unseen currents. By inhabiting the fulfilled self, you harmonize the world around you. Opportunities appear, relationships align, and solutions manifest effortlessly. Your consciousness is a center of creative influence, both personal and collective. Finally, anchor all these principles in the sacred awareness of being. You are not waiting, you are not seeking. You are the fulfilled self, you are the law in motion. You are the living word manifesting in every moment. Every thought, every feeling, every breath is a command. Everything you imagine, everything you assume, everything you hold as real is moving naturally into form. Breathe deeply. Feel the currents of life flowing through you. Let this awareness settle in every cell, every thought, every heartbeat. You are awake, you are aware, you are infinite. You are the fulfillment itself. Seal this knowing with your sacred declaration. I am infinite. I am fulfilled. I am abundant. I am guided. I am victorious. I am whole. My consciousness shapes reality, and all that I imagine moves effortlessly to form. And now, let all striving, all seeking, all doubt fall away. Feel the stillness rise within you, a quiet, unshakable power that exists beyond time, beyond circumstance, beyond limitation. You are not waiting for life to change. You are life itself, expressing through thought, feeling, and being. You are not asking for fulfillment, you are the fulfillment. You are not hoping for abundance, you are abundance made manifest. Let this knowing flow through every cell of your body, every thought in your mind, every beat of your heart. Life is responding. Every circumstance, every encounter, every opportunity is aligning with the vibration you now hold. The unseen has already moved. The outer world is simply catching up to the inner truth you embody. Breathe deeply. Feel peace settle in your soul. You are whole. You are guided. The work is complete, and so it is.